Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our town hall number 51. Uh, we have another special town hall this time, which is also going to be followed by our monthly invitation. I'm joined this time by our lovely co host, Marek,
Hi everyone.
and Nick will also be joining us shortly. He was with us actually and had to leave for a small emergency, and he'll be back, I think, very soon. So, as usual, we will start with just a brief wait for people to join, for those who will join us live. Always nice to see a new member join us. I see there's been some nice activity happening over at Discord. Some people showing some new interest, fresh interest in equine, people who haven't been with us from the start. That's always refreshing to see. Hi, Bosca Trover. Hi, Recruiter. Good to see you guys. We also have, hi, Rachel. We have a new exciting cover page with this render. Thanks, Rachel, for managing these. I think it looks beautiful. It's a beauty render again, so just that disclaimer. But it's a target for us to also have for equine visuals, let's say for the 3D viewer. Hi, Miran. Hello, Tomo. Hi, Mark. It's nice and busy today. Just how we like it. Rocky OP jockey confirmed. Hi, JPS. Hello, Craig. Quite an audience today. This excites me. I mean, the updates are coming. As I was telling everyone earlier, the closer we get to the release, the more exciting I'd say the updates are. We have Defense has joined. Hi, Nick.
Hey, hello. Sorry, I had a poop leak.
You didn't miss anything. Hello, Grad. Quite a nice and busy audience today. I'm excited. We'll start in a minute. We'll start our updates in a minute.
Is my camera working today?
No, it's how it used to be.
The usual.
So it's
The
frozen?
earlier. Yes.
Hmm.
I'm one boy.
There.
I think you're muted as well, unless that's intended. All right, we'll be starting, I guess, now. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We will go through our usual updates. The order has been slightly changed this time. Nothing serious there. I'll actually do a bit of a more verbal update, but then we'll go over development updates, some game design points. We also have Craig here in the chat audience and might be able to clarify if there's anything specific, but I'll try to go over what I can. And then our usual marketing. We will go over AMA, but we also, if you're joining us or would like to support friends and the community, there's an invitation that will happen towards the tail end of this YouTube stream. That's what we're going to go over. On the development side, before I hand over to Nick, I don't really have visuals to share, but we are, in the meantime, fixing some small camera bugs that we had to fix. But we've also built a framework basically for the API, the channel between, as mentioned in the last town hall actually, as our next focus, which is linking the races to the 3D viewer. So we already have a structure for it. It's already functional, but it's not been hooked up to what we have. So there's a bunch of testing that needs to be done to make sure it can support the different courses, any other adjustment we need to do to that. But we've done it in a way where there's a storyboard that I don't know how technical I should go, but basically the sequence of the race, meaning the intro and then the race and then the ending. So there can be a default one. And then we can also support alternatives. Say we have a feature race or a big race where we want to show a different style of camera or a different style of intro. we can then build that in so that that's supported in the viewer, and we can switch between them as needed. We also have a new fence maker. Let me just bring that fence maker on. And
The
there
old
was
fence maker was using his computer and it didn't work.
Yeah.
New
So
fence maker using the cell phone.
yeah, always with new added features. So yeah, the storyboard is just a term for how the race will be viewed. So we've embedded that into the API. We're into that integration part. So I say going into June, I think one of our main development focuses, in addition to the bringing the actual race lists and all of that up to speed with all of the main features that we want, is also to support the race viewer, and we hope to have that. I think hopefully within June we should have something hooked up basically in that aspect, so we can view the races from the beta in 3D. So that's a high level, let's say, update on the 3D development side. And I'll hand over to Nick just in term on the dev
Well,
side.
quickly on the 3D side also, there's been a lot of updates into one of the plugin systems that we were using between Unity and the 3D scene, and it should be a very big improvement on the size of exports. So on the size of all the files that are required to show the 3D. And I'm hoping that well, it seems like technically that will be a very big update, like multiple times faster, multiple times smaller, more efficient. So I'm really enthused about that. The dev from the plugin, I actually put in 2 requests from 2 things that were a bit dumb about the plugin, and he's actually put in fixes for that. So I'm really happy about it, and can't wait to see how that translates into our conversion from Unity to Babylon. But those were, I dare say, low-hanging fruits, so very high gain for the amount of effort that was put into that. So that's really cool. Okay, so for the app, basically what Fahad said, but we're progressing with testing and continuing updates of integration of everything new into the racing workflow. So we're just deploying constantly little fixes to the beta website in all the race screens. So now you can put your horse in a race. You can see that they're in there. You can see that they how they placed after the race, and you can claim your horse back to your wallet. If the race doesn't happen for any reason, like let's say there's not enough people that signed in, you can claim your horse back also. But not everything is perfect. We're finding little things that we have to look into and make sure that they work well on the user experience aspect, on the UI aspect, on showing the data from the blockchain. So, there's a lot of little things that need to be improved to get to where we want to be. But a lot of those things are already working very well. We've had to revamp like the sorting and the paging and little technical issues, but that make the whole thing work a lot faster. You don't want to get all the races every time. You just want to get the 10 next races that are pertinent for your screen. So we made that possible, and that's a lot more efficient on the server side and for you guys, so that the user experience has less waiting in it. And yeah, so we hooked up visualizing the race results. I said that, real data. Yeah, so one of the next things, apart from just we keep on testing it. So Fahad is always putting horses into races. Kayo also. They've got a lot of test wallets, and they're just competing against themselves, I guess.
And next week we'll have the mods join us in that testing. So in the next couple of days, I'll be getting testnet wallets of addresses of our moderators, Luke, Aero Creator, as well as Troy. So we'll also be adding them to the testing group. That's a small expansion.
Yes, and then so apart from continually just racing and testing the whole racing workflow with our own horses, the next things that we want to do is test all the conditions for races that have special entry conditions, and then get the jockeys into the races and get the jockey workflow working. So getting back your jockeys, making sure you can send it in, and then making sure the racing engine takes into account your jockeys correctly, and that all of those. Well, the racing engine's already okay, but that you pass along to the racing engine the information about your jockeys correctly, everything. So that's the next step. So we're actually kind of using the game already. So that's fun. So we're keeping that. We're just constantly entering races. What we've done right now is that we've got one race that starts every hour. It's always the same race. So we always have a race ready to test, and often have a race that's already done so that we can claim back and everything. So that's just constantly rolling with and testing the stuff as we were going.
I felt the game when there was a race where Kayo put in, I think, 2 or 3 horses, and then Craig put in 2 or 3 horses, and then I actually broke the race, which is a bug that we had to find out. But I put in like six horses of mine, I think, into that, or 7 test net horses, right? I don't have any main net horses, but when I put all those, and when I think the trash talking started, and me and Craig were challenging each other to whose horse would be winning that test race, which we can't even watch yet, right? But we can see the results at the end. So the result was anticlimactic because the race did not work, and we found out that there's a bug where the smart contract in its current form cannot handle more than 9 or 10 horses because of the current format. So we've already brought that to the attention of our blockchain team, and they're working on optimizing that so it can feature more. I mean, we can still run races. It's too few for the mainnet release, so hopefully the scope for fixing that is reasonable. So that's another, let's say, main finding actually of testing, but we can still test. Like, it didn't really stop it canceled as it should be canceled. Well, it can't support it, but we can claim our horses back and all that. Yes. Craig is inventing bugs to avoid defeat.
Yeah. Actually, Fahad asked our blockchain dev to make the race fail. No, that's impossible. Yeah. But yeah, so the race contract has to be optimized to simply be able to run with more horses. I would say 12 would be good. The 16 would be ideal. So we'll look into that.
I'll beat you next time, Craig. Let's do a smaller race and see who wins. We're looking for a full stack dev to join Kayo in the development effort. We shared a few town halls ago that we had a member join. Unfortunately, for personal reasons, they had left before actually starting. So we're back to that drawing board. And you may DM me, message me, or I can give you a contact, either this email or another one where we can receive CVs. We're already shortlisted a few, so we're going to go through those. But we'd like to increase the speed of turnaround on new fixes and improvements. On the game design, thank you, Nick. On the game design side of things, we've published the race system guide. We're working on completing the testing of the feature and the instance race schedule. Craig has actually worked a massive amount of, put in a massive amount of time and effort on the race schedule. And every time I think, is this way too much time, I realize how much implicit value there is in having a nice schedule. It's a big part of the game, if you think about it. Having a nice schedule to base your game around, because that dictates the flow of the game, the flow of the aging of the horses. Having good logic there, I think, adds a lot of flavor to the game. We have a few adjustments to the entry fees, the race size limit to that schedule. Right now, I think most of them are based on the same entry fee or a normal, gradation. We also need to test all those entry conditions for racing. Just a quick overview about the game guide without taking too much time. We've seen some frequently asked questions or similar, themes. So racing points it's a system. It's an ELO system that we've been explaining, I think, from the beginning, but has been revised a little bit just to cater to the specifics. So it's used for rating horses and also for setting entry requirements. They're not related to total stats. So what people have been using while there was no game and there's no way to test your horses, people have been only looking at the total stats, which is the numbers added up for the horses as a tier. And we're guilty of using that for the underground invitational now until we have the game to test those horses. And it's a system where the points are allocated and then they increase and decrease based on the performance. So that's one. Weight penalties is another subject we got some questions on. So it's a standard handicapping system where weights are meant to, bring, if there's many horses that are within the same tier or within the same class, the weights are meant to bring them closer to being balanced. Obviously, in a perfect or imperfectly perfect world where everything is exactly the same, there's no point. You just rather flip a coin. So the game is playing on those intricate differences between where your RPs are now, which class it's landed in, and playing that field. That's the whole game of strategy, and knowing how you stack against that weight and who's playing there. So this is just a brief, let's say, explanation. Penalties have a certain period where they apply depending on the weight penalty, so it's not a lifetime thing, but it depends also the type of race. So there are penalties on if you win a group one, then some races will say if you win a group one, then you're next. Sorry, if you have won a group one in this last season or in this season, then you will have this disadvantage applied to, let's say, even out the playing field. And it's realistic. It's something that's derived from the horse racing sport industry. So those are the game design blurbs that we have to just cover some frequent questions. We have some more coming in AMAs, but first we go over to marketing. Marek, please.
Yeah, so we have the Invitational today. We decided to merge it together for efficiency reasons. We had some moves with dates with the town hall as well for personal reasons. So we will do this one straight after AMA. 32 participants, stats 118 to 146, 1 lap races and random weather. So we'll see what will happen shortly, and hopefully Troy will be able to join us once we move to that stage. He apparently has a new laptop, which hopefully will mean a good thing rather than the challenge. But yeah, so that's happening. One thing just to let you know, because we had a bit of an issue in the last one where 2 horses that came first actually were put at the very bottom, and Eustacia was kind enough to look back into the code, and what we found out is that happened because the horses had the apostrophe in their name, and that made that they would not qualify despite winning. And that shows how such a small detail can completely mess up with even a simpler version of the game, right? So just to give you an idea how complex those things are. So while this is already fixed, I decided not to take the risk, and 2 horses that will be participating in this round that had the apostrophe in the name, I removed it. Hopefully the owners will not be too upset, because that removes the risk that they will be eliminated. And obviously the race system guide has been published. I think many of you already spent some time with it, but obviously there'll be some questions coming, so we'll try to answer them as we can over time, and yeah, keep them coming. So that's roughly it.
Great.
And that's the starters for today. So we actually had 36 submissions, but the last 4 were cut whoever was in the last 4, unfortunately, just for the efficiency, running it at 32 makes much more sense. So hopefully they can do it next month.
Great. We'll just go through the AMA very quickly and then go back to the Invitational and close our stream. So there's a question. Can you tell us more about how stats develop each year? I assume each horse year or each real-time month. Nick, do you want to take this one?
Yep. So basically, part of the development of horses is hard-coded into the DNA. So even though you don't have access to that, horses, the physical stats and the mental stats will just grow based on the genetics of the horse. Then there's this little part you have control over, which is training. So you can pick for each year of the development life of your horse a focus on on whatever distribution of physical stats that you want for your training each month, and then you will get small but cumulative boosts on those statistics based on the training choices that you make.
Yeah. Again, it's meant to represent a slightly more realistic approach. The the game is always subject to game balancing, so there might be adjustments here and there to these elements to add to the user experience. But this is a design we have in place, and this is what we should have in the game once it rolls out soon. How does the racing schedule work per season? So this is actually not a simple one to answer. I will explain the general concept, and this actually could take at least tens of minutes to explain, so I won't go over in full detail. But we have instanced races, and then we have feature races. Instance races are the ones that scale, so they can scale to as many players as want to join, and they can split up into multiple simultaneous races. So we can run plenty of races in that schedule. And then the feature races are the higher tier, let's say, races. Those have a limited field. They do not go instanced. Instant races have no cap, let's say, virtually on the participants. Let's say it's a field of 12. The moment you have 13 participants, it will split into a field of 6 and 7, and so on. So it can multiply into many instances of races with smaller fields, depending on how many join. That's an instance. The feature races don't have that. So the method of entry will depend on most of the cases, it will be depending on the racing points. So whether you make the cut or not. So if it's a race for a certain tier, then those who have the highest racing points within that tier will make the cut. And those lower, even if they had entered, they will be able to claim back their horses without entering the race if they're not accepted. Now, on a distribution side, I think a lot of the work has been put into making sure that the schedule caters to the needs of players. So, for example, you'll have more maidens at the beginning of the month because you're going to have more maiden horses. Those taper down slightly as you have more horses that have one maidens. You'll have the classes growing through, so you start with smaller distances, and then as the horses grow older, you'll have horses that go over longer distances. So that, I think, realistic schedule is a big part of what Craig's been helping us develop, and that's how the racing schedule works. So every season is a generation, right? Or rather than a generation, it's a batch of horses. So that batch of, say, first season horses that start as 2 years old, that batch will always grow together as then 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. So they will go through that schedule that caters to that, let's say, aging. And then in the meantime, when you have the next month, you're going to have more horses activated or born. So you're going to have simultaneously a generation of 2-year-olds and another one of 3 years old that all have their schedules running. And then month after month, as we have the whole mature population come in, you're going to have the full schedule of all the, let's say, different types. Feature races also have a lot of classics, I would say, that are staples of racing in different regions of the world. So you have those that separate, let's say, the topmost horses in that generation. I hope I gave this question justice given the limited time. How many extra breeding sessions one can get if they hold many pioneer passes? If I recall correctly, the perk here is for 1 extra max per horse. So instead of 5 covers, you would get 6 per horse. So we don't want to open that up to infinite. That would, I think, possibly be breaking. So instead of doing that, if you have multiple, you basically support increasing the cap for more than 1 horse. This is all assuming the Pioneer Pass continues as intended. If there are any changes to that, we'll make sure that everyone, if we don't end up implementing the Pioneer Pass, but rather an alternative system, we'll make sure everyone who has a Pioneer Pass is compensated accordingly, as whether it's a token or a different approach. So just to be fair, this is a possibility. But for now, we're prioritizing, first of all, the main, let's say, platform functions. If we can fit those in as soon as possible, we'll do that. If we see an alternative, we'll make sure to communicate that clearly. Can you tell us more about how breeding will work? The main points. Again, this is a very, very broad question. I would refer to the white paper, though some parts are, I would say, slightly outdated. I think breeding is still for the most part intact. But basically, you're going to have a male and a female from your stable, or if you buy a stud voucher from somebody else who got those from their stud, you can use that to breed, and then you're going to get a horse starting the next month, and you're going to get a foal, basically. Breeding is based on Mendelian genetics, so the DNA is completely based on the 2 parents and possibly some parts from their grandparents that will be passed over. This is as simple as I can make this. If you need more elaboration on specific details, I've seen some very nice discussion in our general chat and in the breeding section. But also feel free to drop in those specific questions in in Discord, and we're more than happy to discuss and answer. What happens if I get the stud vouchers for my horse when the horse is, say, 17 years of age? Can I use the stud voucher after he's died? Because I understand they are separate. They are separate NFTs, but the stud vouchers will always be limited to 1 month of utility. So if you emit them for a stud that's 5 years old, the moment or the month that he becomes 6, those will have expired. So you'll have to either use them or waste them. Thankfully, they're not that expensive to emit. So you can discount them if you really want to offer that breeding at a lower rate. If it's not going on the market, it's absolutely everyone's choice to list them at whatever price if they want to sell them in an NFT marketplace. It's going to be a separate NFT, so you can list it on any marketplace you want. But each one of them is going to be limited to a single month of usage during the same month that they are emitted in. This is how they're meant to work, and they would expire on the last day of that same month. You mentioned later summer as a possible beta release date. Is that approximate timeline for mainnet? It completely depends on how it's going. I'd say, seeing how it's working so far, as we haven't even started June yet, I would say June is probably fair to start getting the 3D viewer in place for the actual races, but maybe in a more basic form. We'll have the mods into testing. I think July, we may be able to get more of the community into testing. That's just a high-level schedule, possibly into mid-July or a bit later. We're going to get, I think, a fair chance between July and August to start testing conditions for races, to just test that entry levels are correct, that the balancing is fair. We might need a little bit more time for balancing. So depending really on how that, let's say, how that effort looks and how much time it needs, I would say mid-August to late August for mainnet, maybe a bit challenging to meet, but if all goes well, I think it's possible. I would say not highly likely, but I would say it's very possible for mainnet release. If not, we'll just be that much closer. So if not August, I would say in the few months after. So I understand the timeline and people asking for the timeline to be as clear as possible. We're working with the, let's say, the situation we have to make sure that we get the things up and running as soon as possible. So yeah, mainnet will still be better. Technically, there's still more things to improve until we have that fully refined, let's say, experience. But mainnet is the canon first, let's say, season of equine, even if it's still in beta. So it's still going to count. Everything's going to be with all of the main features incorporated. I hope this answers the question. Will there be a training system as to where trainers can earn? Not in the first version. If you mean renting or loaning out, or basically giving your trainer or a third-party agency over your horse and the option to enter them to races, etc., for a certain, let's say, premium. Not in version 1. We know that that's something that people are interested in. I think once we have a version 2 of the smart contract that allows rental of horses, possibly claiming horses or claiming races as a game system, as well as maybe possibly chaining races so you can enter into many races in one go. These all involve the horses, instead of going through a simple approach of I sent the horse in, therefore I can claim back the horse. Those involve a more intricate system of keeping the horse in a contract for somebody else to take, or handing over from within the engine itself. This is, let's say, a bit more advanced. So having the current system implemented with the most simple approach of I sent in the horse, therefore I am the owner. But in a second version, I think it's something that we know people are interested in seeing. Any partnerships or collaborations with real world horse racing organizations? The marketing team have been working on that. We haven't really spent that much on our marketing budget in that aspect because we know the game is not out, so it's not the time to bring in people from outside. It's obviously interesting, it's obviously important, but it also has to be timed well. Is it possible for us to utilize our equine horses in other games on the Cardano blockchain? When other games on the Cardano blockchain are interested in that collaboration, or when we find ones that have mutual interest in collaboration, we have some interesting concepts that we've already fleshed out with some other game projects, but have kind of been kept on the back burner again due to priorities of both projects. But that is something we're interested in, and we're interested to support mainly for the cross promotion, but also it's part of the value of using the blockchain. I mean, other than true ownership, more control over your assets, and this is one of the main perks that we'd like to support as soon as we can technically do that. I think this is the last question. Sorry, Nick and Marek, if I've been taking over these. I'm just trying to be a bit quick. Why is the stable name capped at such a low number? I believe it's 60 characters. I don't think there's a limitation in stable name because it doesn't even go on the blockchain, if I recall correctly. It's a suggestion to extend that. I'll see how simple it is to change that limit. It might just be a simple imposed limit. So we'll check if we can extend that by a few characters.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. We're not going to close. We have the invitational for me and Mark to host. I know Troy's going to be joining us. I think, Nick, you're more than welcome to stay if you'd like. I know usually you don't.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
All right.
Thanks
for being with us, Fence Maker.
Bye-bye.
See you. And welcome to our lovely Troy. Troy is on here. We can see you. Hopefully we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Perfect. New laptop is putting in work. Already showing its value. So thank you for those who joined the town hall and will be signing out. We'll see you guys hopefully the next town hall. And if you do have horses joining, or if you'd like to cheer on somebody else's horses, please join us in this invitational, which is starting now. Mark, shall we transfer over to your controls?
Yeah, we share the screen. I mean, yeah, just open it. So we'll have 32 horses, as we said, which means 4 quarterfinal rounds of 8 horses, top 4 moving to semi and then to final. We will do the wheel to see what conditions we have. Just a reminder, this is a fan-made game by Eustacia. It does not use all our systems, definitely does not use our graphic engine. And those conditions don't really impact the horse behavior. So sunny it is. I put day there, but that's sunny. So keep that in mind. Hopefully this will work. So logged in a while back, so it might log me out. No, actually it works. Okay, so here we have the
nice.
First
so I have
one.
JPS Predator. T-Cove's not gonna win. Mark 1982's Rosie May. We have Maki's Rimuru Tempest. We have Nero NFT's Nero Magic. Aramon's Dum Dum's Pride. Big Badowski's A Horse with No Name. Fateless Holy Cows.
One lap, so it's gonna be fast.
Mm-hmm. You can start the race. I guess, yeah, it's about time we make a big watermark, or maybe it's already too late to think about this. Not the game is what we should on these invitational races, as beautiful as they are.
Awesome. Let's start.
All right. We are here at Lovelace Downs. We are all in. We got the Predator in the 1 hole with the 2, 3, and 4. And we are off in this 1 lap affair. We've got the 4 up front with the 7. Here comes the 8. Looking for some clovers. 1 caught a little bit of clover, but we got some clovers in the middle of the pack also. Coming around the turn, and we are into the stretch. 1 has a very slight lead by about a neck.
Nice. Congrats to Predator. Rimuru Tempest not gonna win. Well, it seems to be doing well so far. And Nero Magic will go on to the semifinals. Who do you have next?
Oh, there's some issue.
What happened?
We are having an issue. It doesn't work. It's all tied up. Should have tested the fix. Okay, that means, well, let's run all 4. We have the winners here. So what I'll do is I'll manually have to create a file for this final.
You're saying they're not all tied? Okay.
Well, they got 0 points.
I see that.
So I think it's...
let's go ahead while noting the results. If the next, it could also be just a visual bug, as in you might be able to go to the next phase.
No, because it gives me option to do a break tie. So
okay. Okay, then manual takes a bit more time, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So next one we have T-Bone's Pop Smoke. We have Rashi's Mango Best. We have the Baron Erasmus All
Oof.
Grandad. We have
I think so,
Physico's
yeah.
The Boss. We have Jordan's Nimbus. We have Janilom's Philly's Cheesesteak, and we have Speed Farm's Flojo.
All
Let's
right.
see. Yeah.
See what happens here. We're all in. Very sunny day here at Lovelace. And we're off. He jumped out right in the very beginning. Might be a fast spot there on the outside. We got a whole lot of coverage. Beautiful gray horse there in number 1 coming around the turn, but we got 7 taking a lead. Here comes the 5, 7 and 5, but 8 decide to make a last minute drive. Don't know if it got there.
Nice. So we have Speed Farm's Flojo, and then the Baron Rasmus of Lugs All Grandad, Jordan's Nimbus, and Boscat Rovers 9,200.
8. That's a number of the horse, the actual NFT number.
That's the name.
It is.
A mouthful.
And yeah, it's broken. Okay, well, we'll work with what we have.
The limit of stats was 146.
1.
Was it?
1. It closed the tab already.
I have it, I think. Oh yeah, 146. Okay. No, I just spotted one with 146. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay. So group 3, we have IQ's Kandan, we have Ren's The Jam, we have Gogo G's Perry, we have Suike's Le Monde, we have Mr. 0297's No More Fiat, we have Indra's Raijin, we have Nightburn's Sephiroth, Paul Franco's Pura Sangre.
Hey.
All in. Still sunny skies. Who's going to take this one? We're off. And we got 1 that jumped out, followed by 2 and 7. 7 decides to come up, and 6 made a heck of a drive right there. But a bunch of clovers being caught right there in the middle. 1 decides to drop back, trying to have a little bit of a come from behind strategy, and it did come up, but I don't think it got there. Like 8 and 7.
Yeah, Paul Franco's Pura Sangre proceeds. We have Nightburn's Sephiroth, we have No More Fiat, and then we have Perry proceeding to semifinals. And we have one more group. So that's Michael Sarah Silver's Pronto Tonto. We have Farmer S2's Boot to the Head. We have Creative Voyage's Aspen. We have El Megaphone's More Than Likely Last. We have CKJ Chambers' Golden Bear. We have Dazzle Edge's Hee Haw Hee Haw. We have DVNC's Panky G. And then we have Tin Cup's Joker.
Yeah.
You guys making us work with those names.
More than
Love it.
likely last.
Yeah. There's an element of superstition. Some people would use that to give them good luck.
Yeah.
No evil eye. Let's go.
We're off. Looks like everybody jumped out nice and even, but now the pack is starting to separate with the 5 up in front just by about a nose. Here comes the 3. 3 and 5 is right up there, though, but 4 decides to get a little piece of this. 3 is back in contention with the 2 and the 7, and everybody hit the line all at the same time.
That's a
Holy
photo
cow.
finish.
That was close.
So Boot to the Head, Spanky G, Golden Bear, and Joker will proceed to semifinals.
Let's
Better
see,
luck to
more
the rest.
likely than last wasn't last.
Yeah, it was not last.
Okay, so I will need a moment.
Sure. We can go over testing. Like me and Troy will talk a little bit about testing, what he should expect starting next week, coming in. All right, so it's been pretty limited. It's been me, Craig, and Kaio actually who've been testing mostly. Just sending in horses with the platform and seeing what breaks and what works. Now, the thing is, the platform design was made quite a while ago. And as we go forward, there's things that have either changed or evolved. and small bits and pieces. So what Kaz had to do is plug in the system first, but still there's a lot of fields that are not fully, let's say, functional or are a little bit empty. So even you guys coming in, you'll find that some, let's say, horse card parts, like even stable name, I can set my stable name in the beta, but it doesn't show on the horse, at least not on the race list yet. It's simply for Kayo to go and figure out where that stable name shows and link that to the user, right? But that connection, for example, hasn't been made. The stable name, the guild name, there's a few other fields, even hooking up the horse stats visibly on that list is not yet there. But in the meantime, with activating horses and naming them is another transaction. We've asked also our blockchain team to also support that. So it should be only a few more days, let's say, until we have that in a transaction form. So we'll be adding that on also in the front end. I see Craig has a bet here, £5 on Predator. Who's gonna make that platform? Has anyone seen a betting platform that's actually made progress on Cardano? I know there are others on other chains that's already functional. I know there are some, including, what was it called? I can't remember the name. There was a sports betting project that we once actually mentioned or shared as a coming Alpha something, I think.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
I can remember the logo.
Yeah,
I'm bad at forgetting the name.
I met that guy at the convention that we
Yeah,
went to in Vegas.
I saw them in Dubai as well, actually, the Cardano Summit.
Sports Alpha.
Yeah, Sports Alpha, right? So I don't know if they've made that progress. I think they first did something a little bit different. But if anyone has spotted a platform that seems to be coming out or soon to come out, or if anybody knows someone's been developing that kind of thing, I think it's a good time to start connecting for possible integration. Anyhow, Troy, would you bet on Predator?
I would. Predator struggles in the short distance, but he is a beast when it becomes longer. And I know these next two stages are going to be longer distance. So,
no, we are not changing the length.
Oh,
it's all one lap.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, well, then he's got his work cut out for him. He is more of a long distance runner than he is short distance. So,
Craig, I expected better of you. But Predator might still win. The guy has intuition.
He might.
He's used his crystal ball before, and it has worked. So let's see.
He might. I've been able to beat Predator with Charlie Brown in a short distance race, but I can't beat him in a long distance. So
I really can't wait to see this on the coin platform. I mean, even without names, the horses already seem a little bit more alive, seeing them going into races and coming out.
Right.
Predator's a she. Yeah. That's another thing we don't see, I think, as often. It's not so prominent, especially in the invitation here. It doesn't really show the gender, but it's a part of it. It also means less chance to reproduce on the main platform. As a female, that builds into the economics of only having a maximum of 15 foals max.
So I have a question while Merrick is fixing up the next races, just to touch back on a question from the town hall on the breeding vouchers. So if a person was to have a breeding voucher that they purchased, you can't sit on it for a year or so and let it become vintage. It expires in 30 days.
Yes. That's an intentional game design. We did not want behavior like hoarding stud vouchers of someone, and then it's a bit more frisky. I would say the only thing preventing that is code that we're putting in. So technically possible for us to remove that and make it forever. It's like a bank. But we feel that it could introduce more, let's say, unnecessary behavior when our intention is simply to extend the studying to external stables. The economics would change drastically. Say somebody undervalues their stud voucher. Somebody keeps hoarding them, and then they become much more valuable as people find out that their progeny are very capable. Then you'll find that appreciated. There's a bit too much speculation there, I think.
Sorry,
Okay.
can you hide my screen for a sec? I'll just reload
Yeah.
this.
Shall I remove?
Tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for a moment.
Good. You can see our faces from much closer. I'm too focused. No.
You can see how tired I am, I guess.
Yes. You can see how good my camera is. Anyway.
So how's your weather been over there, Fahad and Merrick? How's the weather been? We were very stormy last night and this past week here.
We've had a lot of rain for the Middle East. I'm not in Dubai, but I know that Dubai struggled a lot.
Yeah.
It was a shame. It was a shame to see that happen. Sorry, my camera's been moving a bit. So we had a little bit more mild, let's say, from a rain point of view, but we're already to scorching heat. It's 113 degrees Fahrenheit, 45
Ooh.
Celsius already. And we're not even into June yet. July, August are going to be even tougher.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, usually it becomes a bit for me, like I love gardening. So it's the time for me to look at which plants are surviving okay in the summer and which are struggling, especially the smaller ones. JPS is saying it's a good time to sing now. You don't need that. Just take a capture of our faces and put that into that app that was enjoyed at some point by for us. Before us
I did
telling
that
him
one
this is,
time.
yeah, this is too good of a meme that it will easily get a bit broader than it should. It's okay. Yeah, we're a boy band. At least we don't have the karaoke anymore. I think I sorted that. Even the cat sounds. I mean, we lost also the parrot noises, which we used to have. Unfortunately, we lost our parrot a month ago. People always say it's a bit too reckless to keep parrots in a place where cats are. We had the guy in a very good cage. The cats are well behaved, but in the end, I can't guarantee exactly what had happened, whether the cats only came to him after he passed. But it's a shame that we lost that parrot. He was very beloved. But the cats are now somewhere else. The cats are still with us. They're just not shouting as much. And I'm also 2 floors away. So that's...
We are ready.
Good.
All right.
Good. And I see we have a dog breeder joining the community.
We
some
do.
Rottweilers there.
Very nice. A beautiful
Want to share with
Rottweiler.
them. Craig, do you want to join us on the stream if you want to share your singing abilities? We haven't even seen you on camera once. You're almost as hard to see as Zach. Zach joined us once, I think, from CNFTCon. It was nice having them.
Yay.
Okay, what weather did we get?
So basically, it's just I manually created a separate semifinal round. I don't know if it will work or not, then I will have to create a final, but that's quite fast. So we have 2 rounds semifinal. This is the group 1.
Okay, so it's 1 lap yet. Is it night or rain?
I think we ended up rain, yes.
Okay. So in the first semifinal, we have JPS Predator. Tikov's not gonna win. Maki's Rimuru Tempest. We have Nero NFT's Nero Magic. The Baronasmus All Grandad. We have Jordan's Nimbus. Speed Farms Flojo. And Bosscat Rovers 9,280. I have a cat named Nimbus, actually, matter of fact. Nice. JPS saying they're going to have a fall anytime soon.
All right, and the lights are off. And well, the lights are off and it's raining, but it's more raining than the lights are off. This is a cloudy sky here at Lovelace. We're all in and we're off. Track is looking mighty wetty, rainy. 8 jumped out with 7 and 6. 7 is out by front. 4 goes back out there. A couple of clovers. 5 got a clover along with 6. 8 still there. We're into the stretch. Here we come. 7 still got that lead.
Nice. So Speed Farms Flojo, JPS Predator second. We have Maki's Rimuro Tempest goes to finals, and then we have Nero NFT's Nero Magic proceeds to finals. Good luck in the finals, guys.
Yeah, and the error continues, so we'll have to fix it before the next one. But for now, let's run the second group, and then I'll run the last one.
All right, we have Gogo G's Perry, we have Mr. 297's No More Fiat, we have Nightburn's Sephiroth, we have Paul Franco's Pura Sangre, we have Farmer S2's Boot to the Head, we have CKJ Chambers' Golden Bear, and DVNC's Panky G, and then Tin Cup's Joker. And no, Craig, I'm not going to give you that content.
All right. Here we go. We're in. The rain is still coming down. And we're off. And we've got the 3 that jumped out just by a hair of his nose. And we got the 4 followed up 8. Decides to jump out there. Joker isn't laughing very much right now because he's all serious and he's up in front. 8 is right there, but 4 is just trying to catch him.
So Joker proceeds to final, where Pura Sangre goes to final, Sephiroth goes to final, and No More Fiat will go to final. Better luck next time to those who did not make the cut. And yeah, we'll be priming up for that final race. It won't be that long, I think. But yeah, I think it's that season. Yeah, Craig, I think Luke might want to share that with you. We can hook you up if you want. That's an old inside joke. Anyway.
113 during the day, you said. Is that what you said, Fahad? 113 Fahrenheit?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that we are very, very designed for air conditioners. So you won't really struggle because any hotel or any corridor or shopping mall you go to is going to have really good air conditioning. Whereas in some countries, I mean, I would particularly mention Europe because it's pretty common that nowadays when weather is getting warmer, it's not really designed for the heat. So a lot of even very good hotels don't have air conditioning just by design. So that becomes a real struggle. Or if you have to really walk to places you can't even drive or you shouldn't drive, that's a real struggle. But over here, I mean, we're a little bit like, I guess, some big cities in Texas. I can't speak for the rest, but I know, for example, in Houston, when I was there, in Dallas, like air conditioners are common, so you don't really struggle that much. I'd
Right.
say same in Vegas when we were there, like air conditioners were commonplace, so it wasn't really a struggle. And you go
No,
everywhere
you're
by
right.
car anyway.
It was really hot last night. I bet you it felt like it was almost 100 degrees outside at midnight, which kicked off some major storms. We were all huddled in a room for a while with tornado warnings and funnel clouds spotted in the area, and saw more lightning. It was an amazing show of lightning. When it stopped, and the rumble from the thunder that was associated with it, I bet you it rumbled nonstop for an hour. It just
We had that twice this year. When I won't say I've seen that anytime, maybe in the last 10 years. But this year we had it twice, where we had one of them. Actually, I was in the air. I was traveling back from Geneva to Qatar, and just before we landed, there was that kind of thunderstorm where it's just nonstop. And imagine opening up that airplane window and seeing like the thunder right next to you, the lightning next to you, nonstop. It feels like you're in a horror movie kind of. And
yeah, no thanks. I close the window, go to sleep.
Yeah, no, that it was very shaky as well. So we had to diverge or divert, sorry, to Bahrain airport. We landed, waited for an hour for weather to cool down, and then came back. And again, like I think maybe a month or 3 weeks ago, we had the same thing happening, but at least I was at home, so it's easier.
It just seems like the weather has really been really wild this year for some reason. Maybe it's just me, but it really seems that it's really gotten worse. I don't know.
Climate change is a real thing, and despite the challenges that I think everyone has and all industries have, I mean, coming from the energy industry, I know there's a very big challenge there that a lot of people are looking at. Without taking much of people's time who are waiting for this invitation, I think we're ready. Climate change, I could speak for half an hour about it. But yeah, we're doing our part. I'd say less methane gas by having virtual horses. I don't mean I want to exterminate the real horses. Okay, the big finale. I better stay quiet than say foolish things. We have JPS Predator. We have Maki's Rimuru Tempest. We have Nero NFT's Nero Magic. Speed Farms Flojo. We have Mr. 0297's No More Fiat. Nightburn's Sephiroth. And Paul Franco's Pura Sangre. And last but not least, Tin Cup's Joker. And let's see who is going to win this Underground Invitational. Good luck to the finalists.
All right. Joker's all serious right now. He ain't joking very much. Predator wants to get out there and go for the win. Let's just see what's going to happen here. Lights are off, and we're off in this final race of the Lovelace Invitational. 8 jumps out to a very nice early lead. We've got 8 followed by 7. Joker is up there. Predator is trying to catch up. Can Predator get there? But 8 is right there. It's going to be 8-1. Oh, 1-8.
Craig gets his bet right. I think it's a crystal ball. I mean, JPS horses are no joke. He's also always shown. I think he's had a few invitationals with less luck, but it's often Predators and the others have all shown good showing. So congratulations again, JPS, on the win with Predator. Tin Cups Joker, congrats on second place, and Speed Farms Flojo. Congratulations on the performance. Better luck next time to the other finalists. Your horses did a good job reaching all the way here. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope we can host you soon again on the Equine platform. This is coming sooner than later. We're still working on supporting races, even if, at least if it's for the stream here. But hopefully it should be fairly soon. And yeah, thanks for tuning in to this long Town Hall Plus Invitational. We appreciate your audience, and we look forward to sharing with you the next updates in the next Town Hall. See you guys in 2 weeks. This is Fahad signing out.
Bye.